Snack book and Prashadam distribution key. Shri New Jagannath Puridam Ki. Nitai Gaur Premanande. All glories to the Son of the Lotus. All glories to the Son of the Lotus. All glories to the Son of the Lotus. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Shri Guru.
Guru Vandana prayers you can receive. Shri Guru, the lotus feet of our spiritual master, we can take your devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great honor and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from the lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedas scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us, and give us the shade of your lotus feet. And fame spread all over the three worlds, and we take shelter. His divine grace is Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shakha. Today also we can change the cup of water. Thank you. Take care of the book. Can you please move this now?
Yes. Let's see. Yeah, 22.76. Okay, Hare Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kodamore Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Kodamore Toma Vina Ke Dayalu Jagata samsare Toma vina ke dayalu Jagata samsare Patita pavana hetu Tava avatara Tapavana hetu Mosamapatita Prabhu Napaibe ara Mosamapatita Prabhu Napaibe ara Haha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Haha Prabhu Nityananda Premananda Sukhi Kripa Balo Kanakoro Ami Bodo Duki Ami Bodo Duki Daya Koro Sitapati Advaita Gosai Daya Kuro Sitapati Advaita Gosai Tava Kripa Bale Pai Chaitanya Nitai Tava Kripa Bale Pai Chaitanya Nitai Haha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Haha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha Patayuga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanatha Patayuga Shri Jiva Prabhu Lokanatha Doya Koro Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Doya Koro Shri Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sangamage Narottamo Dasa Ramachandra Sangamage Narottamo Dasa Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koro More Toma Bina Ke Dayalu Jagata Samsare Toma Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Gaura Hari Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaur Premanande Hari Bol Jayam Krishna Premarupa Parira Chakacharya Sutra Satyasrimad Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantaraj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Gaur Premanande. Glorious to the assembled devotees, glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to the assembled devotees, glorious to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So I'm reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, and we read text 75 till 81. So on the board we have 76. Just read this first one, 75. Sarvamaya guna kana Vaishnava Sharire Krishna Bhakti Krishnera Guna Sakali Sanchari. Translation: a Vaishnava is one who has developed all good transcendental qualities. All the good qualities of Krishna gradually develop in Krishna's devotee. There is no purport. And that's why we go to the next, 76. This is what we have on the board. Yas yasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunas tatra samasta suraha harafa bhaktasya kuto mahad guna mano ratina sati davato bahi. Yas yasti bhaktir bhagavatya kinchana sarvair gunas tatra samasate suraha harava bhaktasya kuto mahad guna manoratina sati dhavato bahi. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana Sarvai gunas tatra samasate sura Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati kanchana Sarvai gunas tatra samasate sura Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna Manoradena sati davatu Vaishnavis Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana Sarvai gunas tatra samasate sura Harava bhaktasya kuto mahadguna Manoradena sati bhavato vahi Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana Sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha Harava bhaktasya kuto mahatguna Manoradena sati dhavato Yasya, of whom Asti, there is Bhakti, devotional service, Bhagavati, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Akinchana, without material desires, Sarvai, all, Gunai, with good qualities, Tatra, there, Samasate, live, Suraha, the demigods, Harau, unto the Lord, Abhaktasya, of the non-devotee, Kutaha, where, Mahadgunaha, the high qualities, Manaratena, by mental concoction, Asati, to temporary material happiness, Dhavata, running, Bahihi, externally. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifest. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications, because he is engaged by mental concoction in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. Translation. This was spoken by Prahlad Maharaj and his followers, who were offering prayers to Nrsimhadev. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-12. End of purport. And of course we can go to the purport of the Bhagavatam. We will do that, but let's first read the other shlokas that we were assigned for today. Se Sapa Guna Haya Vaishnava Lakshana Sapa Kaya Nayayaya Karitik Darshana. Text 77. All these transcendental qualities are the characteristic of pure Vaishnavas, and they cannot be fully explained. But I shall try to point out some of the important qualities. And then we have text 78, 79 and 80, which are the famous texts describing the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. Kripalu, Akarita, Droha, Satyasara, Sama, Nidosha, Vadhanya, Mritu, Suchi, Akinchana, Sarvopa, Karaka, Shanta, Krishnaika, Sharana, Akama, Aniha, Stira, Vichit, Sadguna, Mittabhuk, Apramata, Manada, Amani, Gambira, Karuna, Maitri, Kavi, Daksha and Mauni. Translation: devotees are always merciful, humble, truthful, equal to all, faultless, magnanimous, mild and clean. They are without material possessions and they perform welfare work for everyone. They are peaceful, surrendered to Krishna and desireless. They are indifferent to material acquisitions and are fixed in devotional service. They completely control the 6 bad qualities, lust, anger, greed and so forth. They eat only as much as required, and they are not inebriated. They are respectful, grave, compassionate, and without false prestige. They are friendly, poetic, expert, and silent. And then we have text 81 also. Titikshava karunika surida sarvadehinam ajata shatrava shanta sadava sadubhushanaha. Kapila Shiksha, yes. Devotees are always tolerant, forbearing, and very merciful. They are the well-wishers of every living entity. They follow the scriptural injunction, and because they have no enemies, they are very peaceful. These are the decorations of devotees. Sadhu Bhushanaha. And there is a short translation. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 3.25-21. When the sages headed by Shanaka inquired about Kapila Dev, the incarnation of Godhead, Sutta Goswami, who was the topmost devotee of the Lord, quoted talks about self-realization between Vidura and Maitreya, a friend of Vyasadev's. During these talks, the topic of Lord Kapila had come up, and at that time Maitreya had repeated Kapila Dev's discussion with his mother, wherein the Lord states that attachment to material things is the cause of conditioned life. When a person becomes attached to transcendental things, he is on the path of liberation. Okay, so that's a series of shlokas. Text 75 till 81 that describe the qualities of a Vaishnava. Om Jnanati Mirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Namo Pistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyati Shatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, so we have basically 3 topics from these couple of shlokas. The first one is that one who is a devotee, he possesses all good qualities, and one who is not a devotee possesses no good qualities. Okay? Which is an interesting statement. That's the first topic, and then we have the 26 qualities describing these wonderful qualities of a Vaishnava, and then we have the Kapila Shiksha, the Tikshava Karunika, which is an additional shloka describing other qualities. Okay, that could be 3 different lectures, but we try our best. Say something about everything. So a Vaishnava is one who has developed all good transcendental qualities. All the good qualities of Krishna gradually develop in Krishna's devotee. So here we get a hint that why a devotee has all good qualities? Because he surrenders to Krishna, and because he surrenders to Krishna, slowly he reawakes his original identity as a spiritual soul, and he all manifests all the wonderful qualities of Krishna in himself. Whereas a non-devotee who is not connected with Krishna cannot access that qualities of Krishna in that way. But yeah, let's have a look at this shloka that we chanted here. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagati yakinchana. So we have different translation. Here Prabhupada gives a translation. He says, in one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are constantly manifest. However, he who has no devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no good qualifications because he is engaged by mental concoction in material existence, which is the external feature of the Lord. So there's 2 kind of people. One is the devotee who is surrendered to Krishna, and all the devas are manifested in his body, and all the good qualities of Krishna are manifested. And on the other side we have the non-devotee who is on a mental platform, as described here. It says mana ratena, by mental concoction. Now when we go to the original shloka from the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada gives a slightly different translation, a little longer. And now when we study Prabhupada's book, we realize sometimes Prabhupada, in the translation, he already includes part of a purport, we can say. Like he in a very poetic way, gives more meaning, because Sanskrit, every word has a lot of meaning, and then Prabhupada translated it in such a way to bring out more meaning. You can translate in a very simple way, with few words, but Prabhupada often uses many words to give a clear picture. So the translation here in 5.18.12 goes like this. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifested in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. On the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities. Even if he has adapted at the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives, he must be driven by his own mental speculations and must engage in the service of the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? Okay. Let's read also Vaishnava Thakur's translation, which is again completely different. I mean, not completely, but it's much shorter. Vaishnava Thakur says, the Devatas constantly dwell with all good qualities in that person who has pure bhakti for the Lord. There are no good qualities in the non-devotees who chases after temporary material objects with desire for material pleasure. So that's the shorter version. But again, it basically says the devotee has good quality and the non-devotee has no good quality. So, is there any problem with this statement, or is it okay? What would you say? I mean, Bhagavatam says, yes?
Yes, if we go out there and there are good qualities as well, and sometimes devotees also have just very
bad qualities.
yes, or very little of those good qualities. So yes, at the first sight, it's maybe.
Yes, thank you. This is what I wanted to hear. No.
For increase this, the Bhakti Purana, when analyzed the Kali Yuga, this Purana says that the religious civilization will be very intelligent, and this applies to civilization from north, yes, German, France, America, this line, yes.
Okay.
Further said is the nature of people, not the voice.
Yeah, so there is many. There could be many reasons for questioning the statement that only the devotees have good qualities, and the non-devotees have no good qualities. You know, first of all, from what we can see, it's not true in a sense that, as you said, there is many people out there who have very good qualities. They behave very nicely, and whereas sometimes within the temple or in our community we have people who don't behave so nice, although they put tilak. So then, how can you just? It sounds kind of very black-white, you know, like the devotees are good and the non-devotees are bad. You know? And if you take it literally like that, another problem that can come up. First of all, if someone reads it outside, they will think, "Wow, these people are really, you know, puffed up. They think they are the best, you know, and everyone else is useless." And only the people in the Hare Krishna movement are good, you know, because they are devotees of Krishna, and everyone else is nonsense. And also, it could create pride in the devotee. You know, the devotee could think, "Yes, Bhagavatam says, all the devas are present in my body, and these are the karmis, you know, the karmis. You know, Bhagavatam says they are like dogs, hogs, camels, and asses." No, Bhagavatam says. No? They're animals. They're two-legged animals. And we are devotees, and out of our compassion we will go out and save them also. So there is some danger in that. Of course, we want to save everyone, but we also want to save ourselves at the first place. So there is some danger in these kind of statements. So, how to understand? What does it actually mean? Any idea?
Maybe if we get really devotees, then we get these qualities, but in ourselves is like.
Okay, that's one. That's a good start. That's one way to look at it. So, who is a Vaishnava at the first place? No, it says these are the qualities of a Vaishnava. Are we Vaishnavas? No, we are aspiring Vaishnavas, right? We are also, in some way, we're not much different from any so-called karmi, you know. They have envy, we have envy. They have material desire, we have material desire. No, we are just very fortunate people that somehow we got in touch with Krishna consciousness. You know, we started to accept devotional service, and then now we put tilak and dhoti and sari and whatever, and we practice. But sometimes we also have still many bad qualities. So we try to become Vaishnava. And then once we actually are Vaishnava, then the statement applies. But on our present level, maybe the statement not fully applies yet, we could say. That's one way too. Okay? Yeah?
So the moot point is Krishna. Now Krishna is the center. And like we say, so anything devoid of Krishna, I would perceive that's the point being made here. That although we may have such good qualities, if it's not put in service, then what is the point of such good qualities?
Okay, nice. So here we have another point, which it's like from the first. If you look at the first, it might sound not proper, but if you look from a deeper, or an absolute platform, then if there is no Krishna, Prabhupada says is zero. No? There may be many, you know, you have many zeros. It remains zero. But if you put one, it becomes 10, 100,000, 1 million. No. It's only when the one is there, then the zero have any meaning. So, if Krishna is there, meaning is there. If Krishna is not there, there is no meaning. How does it mean that no meaning? Because, you know, in the material world, we are in the world of duality. There is good and bad, right? And of course, if someone is a bad person, then he enters more and more into the darker region of material existence and becomes very much entrapped in material nature. if someone has good qualities, what happens? He comes closer to the divine reality, and he's closer to liberation because he has good qualities. But at the end of the day, good and bad are both part of the duality of material world. And many people are good, but then they become proud, and then they misuse their good qualities, and then again go down. Like it's described actually, the cycle of samsara, it's described just like a wheel, and then there on the top is punya, and down is papa, and that wheel is turning all the time. In one life we are punya, we are performing pious activity, and the next life we perform sinful activity, again pious and sinful pious. No, one time we are a king, one time we are a beggar, one time we are a deva, one time we are a rakshasa, one time we are a murderer, one time we are a saint. So from that absolute point of view, what is the, being good or bad? Only if you have Krishna, then it actually becomes good. So in that sense we can say, why is the devotee has good quality and the non-devotee has not good quality? Because the devotee goes in the right direction. He goes towards Krishna. Like a devotee, he may not, let's take a quality of, let's say truthfulness. There might be a devotee, he's a little truthful. Sometimes he still makes a lie, because he's attached to his good reputation. Oh, how many people were there at the program? 50 people were there at least. Actually, maybe 25. But, he's sometimes a little bit. And then we have a non-devotee who is very honest. He's super honest. So who is better? In some, and that's the absolute point of view, in some way that devotee may not so truthful always, but because he has Krishna, he puts Krishna in the center of his life, he's going in the right direction, he's going in the direction of Krishna. And that's why, in due course of time, he also will become more truthful. And the other person who is already truthful, he has not Krishna in the center, there's any chance that he falls down and goes in a different direction. So that's what you're saying? No? So that's another way to look at it. Yeah. And actually I'm trying to understand the shloka myself. That's why I'm doing this interactive.
Well, I was thinking that actually we have to have those good qualities to become a devotee. And if it's not used in service to Krishna, it could be like on the way to service, and then it's also like not only bad because but again, if Krishna is there, then it's good. If Krishna is not there, then it is good, but it's not good enough. It's kind of actually in the and in this regard, in the Srila Vaishnava Thakur in his Madhurya Kadambini describes these different stages of devotional service, and then we have the stages, and then comes after Anartha Nivritti comes Nishta, and Nishta means one becomes fixed, right? After one has some faith, sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, practice devotional service, then the heart becomes purified, Anartha Nivritti, and then comes Nishta, one becomes fixed, and that being fixed is described as unwanted habits are significantly removed, not completely, but is quite a good person, and the sense of identity has been spiritualized. He really sees himself as a devotee of Krishna, as a soul that has become very strong. And attraction to Krishna is not fully spontaneous, but he has some attraction for Krishna. The influence of material conditioning is sometimes felt, it's still there, but he's mainly fixed. Jai Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Shishi Gonitai Ki Jai. So we can also say that he's more Krishna conscious than he is in Maya. No? Like if you have percentage, at least he's 51% Krishna conscious and 49% in Maya. No, he's above. Let's say 60% he's Krishna conscious, maybe 40% Maya. But he is above. That's Nishta means he's more. The desire to serve Krishna is more than this material desire. No? He has more taste in bhakti, in devotional service, than in going into Maya. It has become stronger. And then, of course, there's described, Nishta is in 3 divisions. It's with body, mind, and with speech. He is fixed. Like his activity are fixed, his speech is fixed, and also his mind is also fixed. No? But then, it's interesting, and Vaishnava Chakravarti describes Nishta is of 2 types. And one is concerning bhakti directly, shakshat bhaktir vartini, and concerning elements favorable to bhakti, bhakti anukulda vastur vartini. So two kinds of ways to be fixed. One is to be fixed directly in bhakti, and one is fixed in good qualities. So to be fixed in bhakti means, getting up in the morning for Mangalarti, having a taste, and that's described. The unparalleled test of steadiness is whether hearing and chanting has intensified or has stagnated. So the barometer of being fixed is hearing and chanting. How much you like to chant, and what is the quality of the chanting, and how much do you endeavor to actually make good chanting, good rounds. How much you like to hear, how much you have a taste in hearing, how much you actually are eager to hear Bhagavatam, how much you love Bhagavatam and you want to hear. So that the quality of that Shravanam Kirtanam is the main test to see how much steadiness or the Nishta has been established. And that's the Nishta, that's the Bhakti, that's Shakshat Bhakti Vartini, that direct Nishta fixed concerning direct Bhakti. No? But then on the other hand, we have this Bhakti Anukula Vastur Vartini, being fixed in elements that are favorable to Bhakti, and that refers to humility, giving respect to others, friendliness, mercifulness. That's exactly these qualities, the Vaishnava qualities. So how much are you fixed in being always humble? How much are you fixed in being friendly to others and merciful? That also is a measurement. Confirmed. It's also a measurement of how much you're fixed in bhakti. No? But there's 2. So which one is more important?
First is more important.
Yeah, and that's the surprising one. I mean, surprising in some way. I mean, at least in my heart, there is some resistance. I don't like. No, the quality is more important. But Vaishnava Chakra says no. To be fixed in bhakti is more important. I mean, of course, they're both important, and ideally, that's the point. That's the final point is that a true Vaishnava, he has both. He's fixed in direct bhakti, and he's fixed in the qualities, and that makes him the topmost Vaishnava. So, but then Vaishnava Chakravarti says in the Madhura Kadambini, at times, however, one may see steadiness in such qualities in a self-controlled devotee who has no steadiness in bhakti. So he might be steady in good qualities. He's a nice guy, friendly and respectful, but he's not so steady in bhakti. While elsewhere one may not perceive steadiness in these qualities in an arrogant devotee who has attained steadiness in bhakti. No? And I find it interesting because we do see this also like in our society. Sometimes we see devotees, they're so nice, they're very in the personal dealings, they're extremely nice with everyone. But then all of a sudden you realize they had some difficulties here, some difficulty there, or they're not fixed in bhakti so much. Then you have other people who might sometimes, appear to be a little bit, not having developed so fine qualities, but they're very steady. So that's also there. And of course, then you have the devotees who are steady and nice. And again, that's the best. That's what we want. So Vaishnava Chakra says, in spite of this, by the presence or absence of steadiness in bhakti itself, okay, I read it again. By the presence or absence of steadiness in bhakti itself, Shakshat Bhakti, rather than in qualities of bhakti, learned wise men understand the actual presence or absence of Nishta. Also, when we speak of who is actually in Nishta, then the wise sees mainly the fixation of bhakti, direct bhakti, and not so much the qualities. Also, but more. Bhakti. So I found that it's quite interesting. And then Vaishnava Chakra Thakur also quotes this same shloka. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati kinchana sarvaira gunaistatra samasta sura. And then also from the shloka itself you can understand another reason is that because the devotee is, the 26 qualities are described. Prabhupada quotes them in the purport, and in the Chaitanya Charitamrita we find them in the teaching. Mahaprabhu speaks to Sanatana Goswami, gives this 26 quality as an example of such wonderful Vaishnava qualities. And then he says the non-devotee has no good qualities because he's manuratena asati. He drives on the chariot of the mind. Whereas the devotee has taken shelter at the internal energy of the Lord, and he has Davi Prakriti Ashritaha. He has taken shelter of the divine energy. So that's why also, because, and that's why from the 26 quality, which one is the most important? Yes. Surrender to Krishna is the most important of all the qualities. Why? Exactly for that reason. The Krishnaika Sharana. Krishna Eka Sharana. Eka means one. And Sharana of course means surrender. Exclusively surrender to Krishna. Krishna Eka Sharana. That's from all the 26 qualities the most important. Because if this is there, then the other will naturally manifest. And if this is not there, then it's just mundane qualities, which are nice, they are good, but such a person might still be driving on the chariot of his own mind, and in this way making mistakes, in this way being speculative, and still having so many desires and wrong motivation. But if actually this Krishnaika Sharana is there, then the devotee is guided from within, from the internal energy, and he is truly spiritual, and that's why all the good qualification will manifest. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic, and as was it Sanatana? I think Sanatana Goswami glorified Haridas Thakur. We have quoted this many times. I don't have the shloka with me, and my brain has not given me the memory, but Sanatana Goswami says, Haridas Thakur, you are the best of all the Vaishnavas. You are Jagat Guru, you are the spiritual master of the entire world. Why? Because you are behaving perfectly and you preach also. And he says, there are some people, they preach very enthusiastically, but they don't behave so nice. And we have seen that many devotees in our movement that have preached very enthusiastically, but maybe not behaved so nice with people on the streets. But then you have other people, they're very nice, or other devotees, they're very nice, but they don't preach. Maybe they just sit in a temple and ring the bell. But you are doing both, like You behave nice and you also preach Krishna consciousness. And that's why you're Jagat Guru. No, that's why you're Thakur Haridas, you're the Nam Acharya. Because you have both. You behave nice and you also preach. And that is what really is wanted. And Swarup Das Goswami has written a nice book, Vaishnava Behavior, and I wanted to read about the 26 qualities. But yeah, time is up. Okay, thank you very much. Any comments or questions on what we have discussed?
Thank you, Krishna Premarupa Dasa. I had somewhat a related question to this because I was listening to a lecture of my Guru Maharaj on the altar from the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Shastri series, and he was talking about this, about surrender to Krishna and good qualities. And then a question came up about shadow bhakti, and then that really got me thinking that of course sometimes even when we practice or we are engaged in devotional service, how do you really know if it's not shadow bhakti? So maybe, because like you spoke about how we have to develop this bhakti as priority but also good qualities. So maybe about shadow bhakti also, if you could enlighten us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Shadow bhakti, yeah. Bhaktivinoda Thakur also speaks about this when it's about the holy name. And Sachinanda Maharaj often emphasizes the point that if we only chant the shadow of a name, we won't get any benefit. It's like, or if we practice bhakti just with a shadow, we don't have the same benefit. And the example is like, if someone gives you a shadow of a meal, you won't feel nourished. Like, if you just look at the buffet, like yesterday, Devashi Radhika, she was cooking a nice feast. But if you just look at it, or someone sends a picture and posts it in the WhatsApp chat, dear devotees, it's time for prasadam. Look at the nice feast. It was cooked today. And you see the picture. So is it enough just looking at the picture and remain in your room and not coming? No. Only if you get the actual feast, if you actually sit down and you take the taste of paneer sabji and you take, what else was there, this raita and all the different items, then you get the nourishment. So similarly, if we practice bhakti just externally, just in a ritualistic way, without going deeper, then we won't feel the nourishment that actually bhakti is meant to give us. And when we don't feel the nourishment, what happens? We search somewhere else for it. And then all the material desires come up and we go in a different direction. So then, how can we know whether we actually practice shadow bhakti or the true bhakti? Well, if we get nourished, then we know. Prabhupada gives the example. Just by eating, someone who is hungry, by every bite he takes, he can himself can feel that his hunger he feels a relief, and that he gets satisfied. No one else has to tell him. He himself can experience. So similarly, when we actually make advancement on the path of devotional service, and we can feel, we can see the difference. And of course, Prabhupada gives, we spoke about this also before, that Prabhupada gives many statements where he says, this is the test of bhakti. And he mentioned several items. And one, and that also, which is described here in the introduction by Maharaj in this book about the 26 qualities, that one is that we develop these qualities. So that's also interesting. Like one symptom of really performing true bhakti is that these qualities manifest. That also means if someone has practiced devotional service for 20 years, 30 years or more, and we still see bad qualities, one can conclude that maybe the person has not deeply practiced, or something is lacking, something is missing. Because bhakti should bring the transformation of the heart, and all the good qualities must manifest if bhakti is truly practiced. So in that sense, why Krishna is giving us these qualities, we could say, well, if I just surrender to Krishna, then the qualities anyway come up, so why we need the description? Well, the description are there for us also to elevate ourselves. We can see, okay, how much have I developed this quality and that quality, so we can check. So not now, time is up, but we can go through the 26 qualities and see, okay, have I developed this quality? Have I developed that quality? That is one way to also see. And then, as we said, the main criteria, because what does it mean to practice bhakti, to get nourished by bhakti? Then that nishta will come. That's the first sign, no? Like sadhusanga and bhajana kriya, anatta nivritti. That's the practicing stage. But then the nishta is the first thing that we can see that is manifesting from bhakti, and that means we become fixed. And as we said before, that shravanam kirtanam, that's the main measurement. How much do we have a desire to chant and hear? That's a good barometer also to check how much are we practicing shadow bhakti or true bhakti. And unfortunately, we see many devotees, they might practice Krishna consciousness in a bit, shallow way, and not like they just do the needful. So, but bhakti requires more, like it just says in the Bhagavatam, tivrena bhakti yogina. Like tivrena means intense. There's some intensity is required in bhakti to actually get the real benefit. It requires some intensity. Anyway, yeah. Okay, then we'll end here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nittaya Go Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpa, Tarubhyas Cha, Kripa Sindhu Bheva Cha. How to move from shadow bhakti practicing to real bhakti? What can we do here? What can we just do it? maybe some mistakes should be. Maybe some mistakes. Not following instructions. Some maybe apparatus. Yeah, apparatus. That's already I recently listened a lot to Krishna Premarupa Dasa. He speaks so much about this introspection, which I personally also feel is the key. Without introspection, how do you want to go? Introspection means introspection.